They preached justice and fairness and freedom in the economy. They preached equality and equity. And these are the kind of things that they said. They believed that God created man in his image, and that to engage in fraud or corruption was to mar the image of God, to mar yourself, and to mar the one that you are cheating on, and you therefore become complicit in the corruption revolution. Genesis 1 verse 27. As it concerns the justice system, which includes the policing forces, the law enforcement, the magistrates, the judges, the lawyers, on both sides, your pursuit is meant to be the truth. That's why there's a court. And these places were considered to be shrines, temples unto the Almighty God. For the administration of his ministry, which insists on justice, fair trade, equity for all human beings, equality of opportunity, these were insistences. This is what our fathers preached. That all men are created equal in the sight of God, with the right to pursue happiness, peace, productivity, and industry with the entirety of their lives. And they must be given that opportunity through education, because they represent the image of God. They preach from Genesis 1:27 that no one man is better than another. Therefore, all men should have just and fair opportunity. And the church felt it was her responsibility to provide those opportunities, and insist that beyond their purse, they would charge the aristocracy and the monarchies to put money aside that will be stewarded by upright men, to make sure that the broken and the vulnerable would be served with what made you great, your education. It was exactly these principles that established the foundations of what we call today fundamental human rights. In 1948, the United Nations, under Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady of the United States at one time, gave us the Universal Declaration of Rights, and it became the founding principle of the rule of law. Look at the rule of law in Deuteronomy 17, verse 18 to 20. Please put it on the screen. Deuteronomy 17, verse 18 to 20. And it shall be, when the king sits upon the throne of his kingdom, that's referring to kings, CEOs, and etc., that he shall write himself a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests and the Levites. Verse 19. And it shall be with the king that he shall read therein all the days of his life. Every day he must read the responsibilities of the king and the law of the land, that he may learn to reverence the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes to do them. Why? Verse 20, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren. In other words, all men are equal in the